Well, welcome to the Redmen TV. Premier League football is back, and we have Southampton at the weekend. All Liverpool fans are looking forward to this one. I've got Freddie from the Ugly Inside joining me. Freddie, welcome to the Redmen TV.
Thanks for having me, mate. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good, man. Last time we played didn't quite go to plan, did it? Really? Let's be honest. We made some dodgy substitutions, but I want to know from you now, how is Southampton playing? What can we expect to see from Southampton? It's not a team that I've seen loads of this season.
Yeah, obviously we've had the new manager Claude Puel come in and implement new ideas. There was a lot of scepticism surrounding his appointment in the summer, but a lot of the fans now have come round to his style and his way of playing the ball. We set up with a 4-4-2 diamond, kind of a narrow formation, or a 4-3-1-2. It's very narrow, and essentially what we have our front two men playing. They like to go out wide and collect the ball, come back in again. So we signed Nathan Redmond. We all know he's a winger. Ask anybody that's a football fan. Nathan Redmond's a winger, but
Yeah.
he's now a forward that can play off the centre forward if you like in Charlie Austin or somebody else in Shane Long. But they basically Puel's team requires a lot of energy to kind of collect the ball, come out wide, take on players. But beginning of the season, bit of a sticky start. Picked up 2 points from 4 games. And then we got into our rhythm a little bit, winning away from home at West Ham. An amazing game that was, 3-0. But in recent games, we've not had much luck. Obviously, we were unbeaten up until the Chelsea game, which we lost 2-0, and we lost away from home at Hull last time out, which was very disappointing because it was a game that it's been very reflective of our season so far. Controlling games, keeping possession, holding on to the ball, holding the game, but not putting away our chances. And that's probably our biggest downfall so far this season, despite us having Charlie Austin, who scored most of our goals. The goals aren't coming from anywhere else apart from Austin at the moment.
Right, okay, so like the teams that have had success against Southampton, tactically, where have they found that success? I mean, you just mentioned there, and maybe I'm drawing conclusions. If you're playing quite a narrow formation, is the success coming from the wings? Is that where we're getting teams are getting around you?
You could argue that. I mean, last time at home against Chelsea, it was a 3-5-2, and their wing backs are up and down the wing all day long, but our width comes from our fullbacks. So that essentially there is perhaps an exploit. You could exploit us on the wings that way, but like I said, our forwards collect the ball out wide, kind of high at the pitch, and then take on. And sometimes do play counter-attack in football. Perhaps we don't have enough width in our team. We're blessed with central midfielders. We've probably got about 6 or 7 on the books at the moment, and it's sometimes hard to guess which kind of squad. But we've kind of got an idea now which squad is the Cup squad and which squad is the Premier League squad at the moment. But we've got a lot of players that offer a lot of kind of physical battles in midfield. Romeu, for me, has been the best player for us this season. A lot of the plaudits go to Van Dijk again, another outstanding player. But Romeu is the man in the midfield that breaks up the play, puts a tackle in, and is seamlessly taken over from Victor Wanyama.
Well, that's interesting because I thought he'd be a big loss for Southampton. Actually, big money move to Spurs, but this is something that Southampton have done so well over the last few years, isn't it? The recruitment policy at that club and your club, sorry, it's second to none at the minute in the Premier League.
It's, to be honest, I've been saying this, for a number of years now. Southampton's recruitment policy is probably the best in the world. We've got a plan of action, not only to implement it through the youth, or essentially the Southampton way is bringing through the youngsters, development as footballers and top professionals into the first team. Like we've seen, James Ward-Prowse is probably one of the most recent examples, and obviously Gareth Bale, Theo Walcott, Oxlade-Chamberlain, historic examples. But our recruitment policy is to invest in these young stars, and perhaps a recent example, prime examples are Nathan Redmond and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, new additions to the squad, both young talents. Højbjerg's 21, Redmond's 22. And they've got a number of years ahead of them that can develop them into top players. And I think both of those players, they've got a lot to give to the squad as well.
So obviously, I'm sure you've seen a lot of Liverpool this season, and you've probably seen a lot's been written about Liverpool. What do you make of the Redmen so far?
Do you know what? I think it's been interesting to watch Liverpool this year. Attractive football, high pressing game that's been well documented in the press and in the papers and what have you. I think the 3 players you're playing up front now, Mane, Firmino, and sometimes Alana, Sturridge, or I think you've got 6 top players there that can fill into that position. Coutinho, of course, as well, one of the best players in the league in my opinion. It's been very, it's attractive football, and no matter which player it comes from, I think you've got enough strength and depth there up top to give us a lot of problems on Saturday afternoon. And Mane's been your top scorer, and we know all about him as well from obviously being our top scorer last season.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask about Mane, and it's something that we've not really seen actually at Liverpool so far, is there was a lot of criticism levelled at him that he can only play at home, and he's a bit patchy. We've not seen that. Is that something that was throughout his Southampton career?
Yes, to a degree. His career at Saints was, well, especially last season in particular, quite historically. He tore it up until sort of the clocks went back, until winter came in, scored a couple of goals, and then just went. He disappeared in the winter, and then came back again around March, and then scored 2 goals against Liverpool, and that's when he kind of returned to top player that he was, and went on to score a lot of goals to finish top scorer at the end of the season.
Yeah, okay. Well, listen, focusing back on the game at the weekend, I want your score prediction, please, Freddie.
I would be delighted with a point against the league leaders, but I've got to say, a Saints win. Let's go 2-1.
2-1 to Southampton. Okay, Freddie. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on, and you spoke so much sense up until the final prediction. No, seriously though, thanks very much for joining me, and do go and check out the Ugly Inside for all your Southampton news, transfer rumours, updates, and everything else. It's a really great channel. I've enjoyed watching it grow over the last year or so. So thanks for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the Redmen TV on YouTube, and give the video a nice little like, and let us know your thoughts and your score predictions in the comments below.